All right, guys, so we're going to start with states of consciousness today. You're doing this on a separate sheet of paper, but if you look at question number 1 on your focus, you're essentially going to copy down the first chart that we're going to do together and this top part. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's question 1. So you already have the information, but I think it's important that you see the connection between the top part to the rest of it, which is why we're going to just do it on a separate sheet of paper. Question 1 does not require you to rewrite everything I'm writing. Is everyone clear on that? Question 1 really just needs the top. Everyone good? All right, so sleep. I'm like super passionate about it. I don't get enough of it on weekends. Toby wakes up every day at 5:30 if you don't wake him up earlier. That includes Saturdays and Sundays. And then he wants to go to the park because Monday through Friday we go to the park first thing in the morning so he can run and he chases his racquetball around the park, and he's so stinking cute. Do you want to see a video of him this morning? Yes. It was so cute.
Honestly, is it dark outside?
I don't mind going to the park because it makes him so happy. So I sent this to McCrae and a bunch of.
How far is the park?
Oh, it's like right around the corner from my house. That's my husband who. That's my little man at the park this morning. He's just so excited. He's so cute. Anyway, so this little terror, and that's what he is, has to wake up early and has to go to the park immediately. So my sleep cycle has plummeted in the last year that I've known my little man. But this is what your normal sleep cycle should look like, and that's what we're talking about this week. And we're going, should is the key word. Some people, who here is like a really good sleeper? Like, it's time to sleep and you are just out. Oh, like you're just like, you crawl into bed? No, that does not make you a good sleeper.
Turn out the light and like you close
Really,
your eyes
Rifki,
for
you're a
like
good sleeper?
Yes.
Perfect, right there.
Last night
I wish I was good at it. You're good at it? You can just crawl into bed, Gabrielle, and you're just out?
On like
So
sleepovers, I can just sleep on my friend's floor.
Oh yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, like I'm just sitting down talking and I'll just fall asleep.
You
Who here is a bad sleeper? Like, it is just awful. Like, if you need medication to sleep, you're a bad sleeper. If you, like, you just can't, like, settle your mind. Is that the problem, Trevian?
What?
You can't just, thank you.
Yeah.
You just can't, like, settle your mind.
I think about every single thing.
I have that issue, too. I'm the same
I
way.
think about space. Like, I'm dead serious. I just like think about.
Okay, we're good. Thank you for getting us back on track, Jude.
Thank you, Jude.
I think about that work time when I was.
It works.
Okay, do the best you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but do the best you
What are we
can.
drawing? Oh,
What I'm drawing.
That's not a staircase. It's a little hook. Oh, it's a staircase.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
It's a
next.
staircase.
Matthew.
Oh,
It's
my
okay.
hoodie.
It's not your fault. You
What?
can't. We're recording, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mia.
Thank you, Mia.
So, like, how
It's
many
in my
steps
corner
are we talking?
here.
One,
It's in my
two.
corner.
How many steps are we talking?
Is it supposed to match exactly like that?
Yes.
Exactly. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got 4 steps.
Guys, this is like the hardest thing you've ever done, it sounds like.
Bingo.
It's harder than the neuron.
Trying to memorize that.
But now you know it for life, don't you?
First step.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a staircase. Why would I be teaching you a staircase? Yes, I did. Ripkey. Shush.
It's 4, Jude.
I think it's supposed to be the same on everyone.
Yes.
I accidentally drew 5 stairs on one, but it makes it look even, so we're gonna go with that.
Perfect. Perfect.
You guys are just delights.
It's bad.
Okay. So, as you're finishing up drawing your staircase, which is the hardest thing you've ever accomplished, apparently, it is not a staircase. Anyway, friendly reminder, tomorrow you have a vocab quiz on 1 through 10. How exciting! On Monday you have 11 through 20. Your index cards are due then.
Okay.
Tuesday, you have 21 through 30, and your outline is due. It's worth 20 points. If you don't complete your outline, you're completely screwed and you will not recover, so do your damn outline. Yes, it's long, but it's worth twice the points. In those pages 134 to 173, you need to do the correct pages. I will remind you every single day, but you need to do the correct pages. And on Wednesday, you test. And then we move on to learning. Oh, I love learning. Oh, I'm so excited. What?
Should we draw that line?
Yes, you
Okay.
need to have what I have here,
Thank
people.
you.
All right, so here we go. So what I just drew for you are the sleep cycles. Okay, so if you're a good sleeper, like Ripke, do you remember your dreams?
Yeah.
Do you have like super vivid dreams?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay, so if you are a good sleeper, who are you? Who are you, people? Do you remember your dreams to a degree?
Yeah.
Yes, because the reason why is because you have 8 dreams a night. You may not be able to remember all 8 dreams, but because you dream so frequently that you are more likely to remember. So who are my crappy sleepers? How hard is it to remember a dream? When you wake up, you may remember a little bit, but after 15, 20 minutes, you're like,
I remember all
it was
of
weird, but I don't remember
I
it.
write them down.
Yeah, me too.
That's so weird.
Dinosaur.
Anyway,
Write them down because I
okay,
don't remember.
so when we're talking about sleeping, we go through cycles. If you're a good sleeper, you go through about 8 cycles a night. If you're a crappy sleeper or a really, really crappy sleeper, you may only go through 1 to 3 cycles a night. Do you see the big difference?
I see.
Okay, so when we talk about step 1, which is right here, okay, step 1, these are, we're going to write step 1, these waves that are being emitted here are called theta waves. During this stage, stage 1, you are semi-conscious. Okay? You are semi-conscious and you are falling asleep. Okay? But not completely asleep. It is like when you first put your head down on the table. When you first put your head down on your pillow and you're like, oh my God, and you can still hear people like outside your room, but like it's starting to be like distant, and you're like kind of in the between. If there's something that like really loud happens, you wake up and you're like, damn it. But then like you can't hear everything because you're falling asleep. That's theta waves. It happens to be your shortest stage. It is the shortest stage. So when we see theta waves, and you're going to have to be able to identify theta waves, they look like that. Okay? What?
So you're saying that this is the shortest stage. So like, what if like you like?
How
as a
often do you
person-
sit there in the like when you're starting to feel that feeling of falling asleep? Like you're in bed, you're not sitting in class trying to keep yourself awake. Like when you're like lying in your bed and you're like falling asleep, do you feel like you're sitting there for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that feeling when
No,
you're
not-
tired. Think about it. When you're actually tired. For us bad sleepers, like I think I rolled around in bed for like 45 minutes last night,
See, that's what I'm
and
saying.
then I was like trying. That's not theta waves because
That's
my
not theta
brain
waves.
isn't going. When I'm like exhausted and I crawl into bed, like because I'm a bad sleeper. When I crawl into bed and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired,
Is it
and
like?
you're just like,
Is it like crossing over into that dream world?
no, because you don't get dreams until you come back up.
Is that like, do you ever
Until
like
you're-
wake up in the morning and
Until
like
you're back.
you're like so sleepy that you like wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, and then you just like kind of fall back asleep knowing you should wake up, but like you hear
Kind
everything
of.
going
You're
on.
still going back through, Riley.
Oh, wait,
Hold on.
How are theta waves affected with insomnia?
With insomnia, we're going to get through all of that. I'm going to talk about normal sleep patterns, like for good sleepers, and then we're going to mess it up for people like you and me. Is that fair? What do you got, Hannah?
So when like you're falling asleep, you know, and you kind of like start dreaming, and then like you feel like you're gonna fall, and
Oh
like
my,
you
I
like
was actually
you
just
like
about to say
you like
that.
you like
Oh.
wake up.
Welcome to stage 2.
about to say that.
Stage 2 is where we have sleep spindles. When you twitch,
I hate
And
those.
then you like
I
Or
hate
jolt.
it with a
It happens to
passion.
me pretty much.
they are small bursts of electrical activity
When you-
in your brain. Essentially, when you're sleeping, your brain is kind of powering down a little bit. It's using to recharge. Powering down. Okay? So, what stage 2 sleep waves look like is
Whoa.
So kind of
Does that
smooth,
say-
and then they jolt.
Does that say power?
Power down.
Power down.
Okay, so sleep spindles. Every single one of us, guys, I actually do need to get through this, and you need to be able to tell it back to me. So when you have stage 1, you're starting to like slowly, you're in between that whole conscious layer, and then eventually you just fall asleep. In stage 2, you're lying asleep, and this stage, if you're really tired and you fall asleep, it takes only about like 4 or 5 minutes, correct? You're lying in bed. If you're a good sleeper, you fall asleep really quickly. And stage 2 is happening within the first 15 minutes of sleeping. Every single one of us has startled ourselves awake at one point, correct? And it is terrifying. What essentially happens is your brain is like trying to power down, and then like something triggers just a response, and like you literally just shake yourself away. And it's sleep spindles is the cause of it. It's just your brain trying to like slow itself down, that it kind of just like gets itself all wrapped up again.
It's always the same exact one. Like same exact.
Oh, if you're talking about dreaming, that's different. I'm talking about that whole like jolt. There's nothing happening in your brain. You're just like, and you just scare the crap out of yourself and you wake up. That's what I'm talking about. Stage 3 is deep NREM, non-REM. It's delta and theta waves. This is the first deep sleep. It's hard to wake people. Okay? It's hard to wake people up from this stage. So, what it looks like. Okay, so these are your delta, which are your deep sleep. These are your theta, which is your lighter sleep. Okay, so stage 4 is your deepest sleep. What do you got, Alyssa? Why is it so grainy? It's just like the biggest ones that you need to be able to. It just has a little bit more action to it. That's it. It's the beta waves you have to be able to identify pretty frequently. Is that fair? Okay, so stage 4 is your deepest sleep. Non-REM sleep. It's incredibly hard. To wake people up. It's almost like they're dead.
Is that like when people are sleepwalking?
Okay, so that happens in 4. No, you're not. These waves look like that, and they are big. Okay, so has anyone tried waking up a brother or sister or a friend or something, and like you literally like you're shaking them, and they're just like dead? That's because they're in stage 4 sleep. Okay. If you have night terrors, which is like an experience like you're falling, is that what you were trying to say? That's happening in stage 4 sleep.
It's like, but it's right when I'm falling asleep, like actually.
That's weird.
And it's always the same like
Yeah.
situation. It's
Yeah.
always like I'm on.
If it's a situation, it's not stage 4 sleep. If there's an experience, no. Everyone in this room has had the sensation of falling, correct? Like there's no dream, it's just falling, correct? Like everything, like black, falling. Yeah. It's not like someone's like, you know, your arch nemesis comes up and pushes you off a building and you're like, whoa! It's just like that sensation of falling. That's happening in stage 4. If there's a plot, then it's not you can't fall right into REM. So it's not immediately.
What
So
about when you feel like you're falling and then like you actually fall? Out of
like
bed?
you roll off the bed.
Yeah.
Then you're
No, I'm
awake.
not talking about that.
Or like you're about to the ground, then you wake up. And you're like,
All right, REM, which is stage 5. Your brain emits beta waves. Beta waves during stage 5. 5. Dreams are occurring.
blessed.
This is the most
Get it out.
the most restoring of all stages. Okay, so beta waves look like this. Okay, right now in class, right now listening and writing the stuff down, it is the same brain waves. Same waves emitted during conversations. So let's talk about everything we just discussed. Looking at our little chart here that we drew. What's up, Riley?
If REM sleep is the most restoring, what would happen if for a prolonged period of time you just wouldn't let someone
You
fall
die.
asleep? Okay.
You die. Your brain just fries and dies. So what happened to Michael Jackson?
What?
I'm so confused.
Well, if your brain can't shut down and restore itself, it just becomes incredibly depleted and you die. Yeah. Because like falling asleep and like closing your eyes and going through 1, 2, 3, 4 isn't restorative. Okay? So let me go walk you through it, Jenny.
So for step 5, the breathe, like, is that why some people talk in their sleep?
Yes. Okay. So let me explain what we just discussed and we'll kind of go through it. It'll make more sense. So right here at the top, write awake and beta. Anything that is above this line means you're using beta waves, which means you're listening to me speak, you're processing information, you are learning things, you're writing things down. That is the most active your brain is using beta waves. Is everyone clear on that? Okay, so you're wide awake, okay? Then you're like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Then you crawl into bed and you're like, nice and cozy. And then you fall into your theta waves and then you fall asleep. Okay, so everyone's in theta waves. Then very quickly you move into your stage 2, which is your sleep spindles, which is your brain is essentially powering down. Every once in a while you could have like a jerk. Okay, have you noticed that if you have a jerk, that if it's like kind of bad and you like are all by yourself, like you're like if you sleep in a car with someone and there's someone next to you and you have sleep spindles, you usually wake up immediately because you're like, oh my God, I'm touching people and like that's weird. But like in your bed, if you don't really wake yourself up after like you're like, oh damn, that was weird, and then you just roll over, you fall right back asleep. Correct? Okay, so that's stage 2 sleep. Okay, then you keep progressing downward. The deeper you get, the deeper your sleep gets. So sleep spindles, then you hit delta and theta waves where they're mixing for the first time. So you're still somewhat. So during stage 1, if your brother, your sister, your mom, whoever says anything to you, it's like when you fall asleep on the couch and your mom's like, do you have homework? No. Sam, should you be doing work? No. And you're kind of responding back and forth, yes. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is you're like passed out but you twitch. Stage 3 is when you start you start snoring if you are a snorer. You start really starting to like fall asleep. Stage 4 is your deepest sleep. This is the one, if someone wakes you up in this stage, you're just like, what? Have you ever been woken up in stage 4 sleep and it just takes you so damn long to shake off that fog? You're just like, And like everyone's like, oh, sleeping hard, and you're like, what? And you just take so long. That's stage 4 sleep. It's the deepest you get. It's all delta waves. Okay. If you have night terrors or sensations while you're sleeping, like you feel like you're falling, which is the most common one, every single person on the planet Earth experiences it at some point, which is universal, which is very weird. Depending on what culture you're in, it doesn't matter. Every single person has that sensation. That's all in 4. Okay, so your brain is slowing down. Now, hold on. Let me get through the whole cycle, and I'll be happy to answer anything you have. So, you start very light, where you can hear your mom yelling at you. You're like, okay. Sam, you're like, yeah. Sam. And you like kind of go back. Then you have sleep spindles. When you're asleep, you can jerk awake. 3, you're kind of like light, and you start your snoring, and you start drifting deeper, deeper. 4, if anyone wakes you up, you're in a complete fog. Then this is weird. So please listen. When you're in your deepest sleep, all of a sudden, your brain shifts to delta waves. This is where your brain is the most active. Like right now, learning and listening and hearing all that stuff, your brain is just as active in the middle of the night. This is where you have dreams. Your brain is just as active when you're essentially dead asleep having a dream than as of right now or in the middle of you having a conversation. Isn't that crazy? And the reason is why beta waves are being emitted during stage 5 or REM is because your brain is essentially fixing itself. There's a couple different theories about why dreams happen. My personal favorite is that depending on what part of your brain's trying to fix and kind of clean up and kind of shapen up, that's where the memories that are being held in that area are the ones that are coming to you. We've all waken up in the morning and being like, what the hell just happened? Like some crazy wild things happen in your dreams that you would never allow happen, and it like fully vivid, and you're like, oh my God, this is horrific, correct? I believe it's because that part of your brain that your brain was trying to fix and repair and allow to like refresh was the one that was being worked on. And that's one of the big brain theories. So what happens is you're only here from about 9 to 15 minutes. Let me get through it and I'll come back. So you're only here for like 9 to 15 minutes. Then you are back in your light sleep. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and you heard like this really light tap? Something that like you're like, why the hell did I hear that? And you wake up and you're like perfectly awake in the middle of the night. You're like, huh. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to bed. And then you roll back over and that's because you just got out of a dream. And you're back into your theta waves, which are super light, which means you're kind of awake, kind of not. Then you start your trickle down. Have you ever woken yourself up with sleep spindles at like 2 o'clock in the morning? It's because you just are restarting the cycle. Now, most of your most intense sleep spindles are going to be happening going through the first cycle. Makes a lot of sense, correct? It's actually pretty rare to have sleep spindles that jerk you awake in the middle of the night, but everyone experiences it at some point. Then you work your way down. You start getting deeper and deeper and deeper into sleep, and then your brain pulls itself up and goes back into beta waves, and you're having another dream. And then after your dream, after 7 to 15 minutes, you go into theta waves, and then you start going down, 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 down. So what happens is the average human goes through 7 cycles of this. Okay? If you're a good sleeper, you're doing 8 to 9. A night. Isn't that insane? So essentially, some people train themselves that they can remember up to 5 separate dreams a night the next morning. Like, that's crazy. So each stage, 1 through 4, equals 2 to 7 minutes each. REM, the average person is 12 to 18. If you're a light sleeper, okay, if you're a light sleeper, you can go 9 to 11 cycles a night. If you're a heavy sleeper, and I'll explain what that means, you do 3 to 4 cycles. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay? If you're a light sleeper, which means you don't really, like you're easily awoken. Who here is a light sleeper? Like any noise kind of wakes you up. That means you go through your cycles much faster than most people. Which is why you hear more noises in the middle of the night, because you're constantly in theta waves. Does that make sense?
Oh, this makes so much sense.
Yeah, because you're constantly going through your cycles. So, like in the middle of your sleep, you constantly hit the theta more often, which is why you start hearing it. Okay? If you're a heavy sleeper, who here is a heavy sleeper? Like when you're out, you're dead. Okay? That, you only go through 3 to 4 cycles. So you're only likely to have 3 or 4 dreams. You're only likely to be in theta only 3 or 4 times. It's the shortest cycle, which is why it's really hard to wake you up by noise. Okay? Now, one of the biggest reasons why we have sleep cycles like this and why we go through it is think about our ancestors living in caves. Okay? If you are attacked by a bear in stage 1 sleep, are you going to hear the bear come into the cave?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Imagine if all humans, we go from stage 1 to stage 4. Are we going to hear the bear enter? Imagine in stage 5, will we hear anything? In stage 5, have you ever woken someone up who's in a dream? Have you ever been woken up in a dream?
Yeah.
And it's literally like, it takes you so long to figure out what the hell is happening. And you wake up and you're like, where am I? You're just like, what? Okay? That's because you're in stage 5 sleep. And it takes a lot to wake someone up in stage 5 sleep. So imagine if there was a bear who came into our cave when we were in 5 or 4. Would we survive? No, the bear would have already eaten us all the way up through our legs by the time we would come to, correct? So the bear would have won. So evolutionary, it makes sense why we keep going through cycles, so that way we are able to still protect ourselves to a degree as in our sleep, which is why some people sleep lighter, some people sleep heavier, but overall we're constantly going through the cycle, so at one point we aren't completely available to be mauled by bears. And at the end of the day, that's the goal. Alyssa.
Do other animals go through similar?
Yes. Most animals go through less. Our brains are more complex, so we need longer time in REM to recover our brain. But, I know my dog Toby has dreams. He'll sit there and then move his little feet, and he'll go, ah. It's so cute. But yeah.
They only have like.
I would think 3 or 4. There's not much going on upstairs with Toby. He wants to eat, he wants to pee, he wants to poop, and he wants his toys. Oh, and he's passionate about sleeping. So, it doesn't need that many brainwaves, you know? What do you got, Hannah?
I was gonna say, is it true that like the stuff that you experience like when you're awake like can contribute to your dreams?
Well, absolutely. Everything goes stored in your brain, and the area of the brain that's being worked on is going to be re-triggered in that memory.
And then I have another question. So like, how can you go back into your dreams?
You
Like,
can't. Don't even talk to me about lucid dreaming.
Oh, man.
Don't even start
No,
that
no, no.
crap.
I mean like when you're asleep and then
You
wake up.
can't. You
and then
can't.
make yourself-
Everyone here has had a beautiful dream.
I can
Personally,
make
me and
myself
Zac
go back into
Efron have had many rendezvous, and he's
I can
so
do that.
beautiful. It's fine. I can say, all right, Zac Efron, here I come. And then I'll have a dream of, like,
I can do that.
Zach
Zac
Galifianakis.
Galifianakis.
That's true, that's true. So, I mean, you can try, but it's never going to be the same exact dream.
I can do that.
Cool. Coker?
So, like, when do people sleepwalk?
So the people are sleepwalking in stage 4.
Is it true, like, if you
We
wake
talk
them
about it.
up?
Huh?
Is it true if you wake them up?
Well, think about it. You're in stage 4, and someone wakes you up, and you're like walking, and you're like out and about, and then now you're wide awake, and you have no idea where you are. Do you think you're gonna respond kindly or like terrified?
Oh, so now I see why, like,
It's dangerous.
there's such
It's
like, a
dangerous for
difference.
you, and it's dangerous for them because they're like gonna get punched.
I see why it's like there's a difference now because I always thought like it was a myth because
No.
you know
It's just dangerous for them. It's startling. What do you got?
Oh,
Okay.
you're in your bed and that
What
happens.
stage
you
do you
don't
have
freak out.
when, like, when you're, like, really worried about something?
Yeah.
Like, you're anxious?
Yeah.
Like,
My life. Go ahead.
like, I don't know, like, when do you have those, like...
What? I don't understand what
do
you're
you have,
asking.
like, stressful dreams because you're anxious, or they just happen?
It's because of your anxiety. it's because of your anxiety. My dreams aren't usually really peaceful. It's actually really sad. It's usually about school. That's like my dreams. Like I also use my dreams to help solve problems. Like when I sleep, I wake up the next day. I'm like, oh, okay, I know exactly how I'm going to do it. Like I have brand new essays for AP World. They changed the essays again, and so I need to revamp all my stuff. And I was like, okay, I need to like color block the essay so the kids can see. And I woke up Monday morning and be like, cool, I know what I'm doing. So I came to class. I came to school early and wrote it all out, and that's what I've been using all week. And it's perfect.
Masterpiece.
So I sit there and I work. Anyone else use their dreams as like an opportunity to think through problems? That's who I am. Like my dreams are problem solving, which is great. Because I wake up with like, okay, here we go, and I kind of go through that way, which is great.
But like, do you have like dreams where like I've had like dreams about friends like doing
Mhm.
things to me?
Yes.
And, like later on, it like happens.
Okay, that's just
Is that like
No.
coincidence?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry if you don't know this, but there's people who are going to be mean to you,
It's probably
who you know. There's people who you have never met who are going to be mean to you.
I'm mean to people?
Yes. She's mean to me all the damn time. So yeah, it's just one of those coincidence things. Do I think dreams predict futures? No. Like I just
But, like,
can't.
I don't know, like you ever have a dream about something and like
It came
you
true.
apply it to your life.
I mean, your dreams are coming from previous experiences or based off of experience you have. So it makes sense that if you're interacting with the same group of people, it could come up because you have prior experiences with them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call them predictions. I would call them like, I had a dream you're a jerk. And you're a jerk. What do you got, Alex?
So,
By the way, if sitting there, you might as well fill this in for your first focus. That way you can keep crossing things off while I answer your questions. If it's important to you, I want to answer, you can fill this in on one. What do you got, Alex?
so I've done a lot of weird things in my sleep, like sleepwalking.
I wasn't sure where you were going with that, Alex.
So, is there any like rhyme or reason to the things that you do when you're sleepwalking?
So my brother sleepwalks. He was passionate only about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when he was asleep. He would never eat them like at school. He wouldn't eat them for lunch, but at night he would eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
My friend
So
was
that's
like,
lock the door. So I
Really?
can leave. Yeah. Because,
It's something you grow out of, though. Have you grown out of it or no?
well, I haven't
asleep.
done anything in about like 6 months.
It's a stage typically you go through. You probably started doing it around like 6 or 7 years old. Typically by the time you hit 18, by 16, 17, most people are just done with it. Some people grow out of it by age 12. It's something you typically grow out of. However, there are some adults who still do it.
My mom, it's terrifying.
Really?
She yells
Stepbrothers.
and she gets up and she'll like run around and she has full conversation. It's
Yeah.
terrifying.
It's just kind of whatever is going on in your brain. I really do believe your memories, your experiences from sleeping, like your dreams and stuff, are really coming from whatever part of the brain is happening. You know what I mean? With like basic instincts and stuff attached to it. So I really believe that whatever you were doing is something that either stresses you out. Like, I had a student last year whose dad was like a tax accountant. And that sometimes in the middle of the night he would sleepwalk and go to his desk and start computing numbers. Could you imagine how terrible your life is if like sleep dreaming you're working? Like, God, that would suck.
A few years ago, we lived in the desert in California,
Uh-huh.
in the high desert, and my dad would have to stay up until like 4 in the morning by the living room because I would find a way to get out of my room.
Oh my God, that's
And I'd
terrifying.
Go outside and just start walking into the desert.
Oh
There
my
were, like,
God.
coyotes and stuff.
Your parents really love you if they
And
didn't
I
let you
would,
die.
like, one day, I unplugged every outlet in the house, and it was
That's so
like
funny.
it was like a 6.
It's funny now that you're safe, but your parents must have just been so
Like,
anxious.
I unplugged the fridge.
Oh my God. Gabrielle, what do you got?
Like, I never, like, you said, like, what our lives do, like, contribute to our, like, sleep.
Say that again. What?
Okay, you said, like, stuff that, like, goes on in our lives, like, contribute to, like, if we sleep, right?
To a degree. I mean, everything in your brain is happening by the prior experiences, thought processes, stuff like that. I mean, you're not going to have a dream about someone like killing you if you don't think they're kind of shady towards you, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, I sleepwalk a lot. I'm like,
Do you really?
Yeah, I always try to like escape. So like one time we were in a hotel room with my parents, just us, and I try to like open this like glass door, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was just trying to leave it up. And they were like, go back to bed. I'm like, I don't remember. They just told me.
Yeah.
I was trying
If
to
you
leave my
could just
house.
be like wanting to go outside, stuff like that. I mean, it's not like you're like, oh my god, I'm dying, they're killing me. It's something like that. Yeah. Fill in number
I'm
one.
trying to like comprehend how this is like a thing, because like I sleep talk all the time, like, but like it's about random stuff. Like I could be having a dream about like
Ripkey, what do you got?
What?
What do you want me to say? You didn't also have your hand up. He's been holding his hand up for like 45 minutes. I was talking to you to get you to write something down and use your time effectively. Ripkey, what do you got?
What if you're like an active dreamer and you can control like what you can do in like your dreams?
It's like
That's what
lucid
I was-
dreaming and stuff like that. I
That's
mean,
what I was trying to say.
it's
like,
not a
you
perfect
control
science, so it's not content I have, and I don't care about it.
Don't people try to do that and then they like have like
I know.
demons,
Lauren, what do you got?
Yep. Bingo.
Like people try to,
Okay.
like
Is there a way to prevent like sleep talk? Like what the hell? Where the hell
Phone?
does sleep talking and sleep walking come from? And it needs to stop. Why? Because my entire family does it, and they have freaking bug nightmares and break things.
also I would go to sleep in my bed and I would wake up on the couch.
I'll sleep every night.
Like 2 nights ago, like I was really
Yeah,
dreaming.
that's amazing.
Alright.
I woke up.
Hold on. Sophie's been waiting and she's has her hand up. What do you got?
And she's
Sleep
like,
paralysis.
"I'll
I'm getting
sleep,
to.
I'll
It's
do
actually
it."
something I teach.
Okay.
So I'm getting to it. I'm not ignoring you, and I do care, but I'm going to cover it. If not, in like 5 minutes to the
Maybe you
first
should
thing
go do
tomorrow.
one
Is
of
that
those,
fair?
like, sleep studies.
Perfect. What do you got,
When you get
Jacqueline?
older.
How does like sensations work in dreams? Like
It's usually exasperated. Like, it's usually more extreme than usual. Like, if you get punched, you're like, ah, and
I've
you're
like
like dead.
felt like getting shot in the back before.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. What?
Do you think do blind people just dream about like sounds?
It's actually really interesting. It's actually really interesting, yes. However, if you lose your sight,
But you can see.
you dream with visions.
My colorblind friend said he thinks he's dreamed of other colors before.
That's cool. That's cool.
Oh,
One of my favorite
Like
things.
Alec.
One of my favorite things to ask people who anyone here speak multiple languages like fluently, not like hola, como estas. Okay,
Muy
like
bien.
no one else speaks 2 languages? Okay, what else do you speak? That's awesome. Do you dream in English or do you dream in Spanish? Do you? Do you ever have a dream in Spanish? No? It's, you speak too?
I'm not. I don't speak another language, and I'm not fluent in sign language. But I've had dreams where where the entire conversation has been in sign language with signs I haven't recognized before, but I still know what the conversation
That's weird.
is about.
That's weird.
My dad's fluent in sign language.
I know that.
I wanted to bring it to the school so I don't have to take Spanish when we help.
Okay, if sign language can be a class we can take instead of a language, I would switch immediately.
No, no. Thank you
He
again.
knows it. Like,
Thank you.
So well.
No, you work for the school.
He can
who doesn't
translate
apply.
well, like you know, like those people on the TV that are talking. He can like translate.
Consciousness is a person's awareness.
Thank you.
Consciousness is a person's awareness of everything that's going around him or her at a given moment.
So
okay?
I take it that we go
When
to our
we
study guide.
do different consciousness, okay, right now you should be fully consciously aware what's happening in the world right now, correct? In room 160, you should be aware, okay? We have states of consciousness, okay? Sleep is a state of consciousness. Using drugs is a state of consciousness and all that stuff. So we'll be talking about that all week. Goodbye. I am not a dream person, so do not come at me and say, oh my God, Miss Bennett, I had a dream of a bear. What does that mean? That is not my cup of tea. Google it. I have no idea.
Don't they have like
bear.
don't they have
Yeah,
like
Like
sleep
bears are good
studies?
for everything.